So as we gear up for the all-important 470, let's look at the point standing so far. So we have 10 races throughout the week to get to this point, to the gold medal race. And the idea or the goal is to accumulate the least amount of points as you possibly can. And you do that by consistency with good results. Belcher and Page, Tessa, have been in the top 10 in good positions all week long, haven't they?
They have, and I think in this race we're going to see Belcher and Page match race and stick really close to Luke Patience and Stuart Bitchell from Great Britain. But Great Britain's in a difficult position because they're going to have to defend hard against Croatia and Israel, who are going to be wanting to fight for that bronze medal position as well. So look, it's going to be tough, a lot of things to consider in this race and close on the points. So
as you can see, the temperature is about what the Bureau was predicting, almost 32 degrees, a little lighter as far as the sea breeze is concerned, but we're all in readiness for the 470 race. Let's take a break and we'll come back. And when we do, it's time to go racing here in Fremantle. Welcome back, everybody. Greg Rust and Tessa Parkinson with you live from the shores of Bathers Bay. As you can see, we are just 2 minutes away from race start in the 470s. This is a gold medal race for this class. Tessa, you know the boys well, both Belcher and Page. What's going through their minds right about now, do you think?
Look, they're just going to have their eyes on the British team, the young Luke Patience and Stuart Bitchell. They're just wanting to match race them and stay close to them. And there's tricky conditions out here today, so it's going to be hard to get into a covering position and really defend, because the clouds have just covered over the course and the breeze has shifted to the left. So you're going to have their eyes out of the boat, really watch what's happening. We can see the Croatians here warming up. They're in third position here. The Israelis are close on their tail, so they're just going to be looking to sail their own race, get out there and try and win.
So they're well and truly into start sequence now. This is going to be a very exciting, very tactically challenging race for all. Let's take you to your commentators from the UK, Nick Simmons, and the 470 British coach, that's Stephen Lovegrove.
The champagne over when they finish the race.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're looking for that champagne moment. It's always a risk in a day like this. Luke and Stu could just sail off into the distance, and the Aussies could quite happily not pass anybody. So I'd be, if I were them, just worried about staying in touch with the Brits. 45 seconds. If you watch the last race, and you'll see a bit of a difference here. All the fleet are bunched up by that start boat at the right-hand side at the moment. 30 seconds to go. The British team, the furthest right. Yeah, it looks like we've maybe got a right shift at the moment, making that committee boat end more biased, more favoured for the guys up there. Luke and Stu just poised, looking for a gap to open up.
Luke and Stu are Luke Patience, Stuart Bitchell for Great Britain, lying second at the moment. 15 seconds to the start of the race. Well, in half an hour's time, we will know who are 470 world champions in the men's division. Favourites, Australia. They just have to stay out of trouble. There will be a battle between Great Britain and Croatia for second and third. And that is the start. It's a great start by Croatia there. Heading off towards the left-hand side.
Wow, and Luke and Stu have tacked away. They're hopefully seeing some breeze out on the right-hand side there. The other thing you'll notice is that the O flag's flying on the committee boat right now, and that's an open pumping rule. So you'll see the guys working like absolute ninjas in this breeze. Really.
Unlike the radial, you can push and push and push. You won't be penalised. Let's see what's happening. There's been some quick tacking. Most of the boats now, I think there's been a shift. To me, that is looking favourable.
Well, for sure, looking out the window here, you can see Luke and Stu in breeze, and Stu is going absolutely mentally. He's put a lot of work in the gym for this. Look at him go.
So the British team saw a big wind shift. They weren't following the pack in towards the wall, which is usually paid.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the guys on the left there. Their legs bent, crouched in, really not the same amount of power, and out on the left there, and Stu's a big lad. He's swinging it down. So if your legs bent, that means you've got your weight in the middle of the boat. There's not enough wind to heel the boat. Whereas these guys here, what a start it is for these. The British boat on the right-hand side. That's Luke Patience and Stuart Bitchell. The likely outcome for them is a silver medal, but you can't do better than be at the front of the fleet. Absolutely not. And you see Stu there raising his arm above his head, just trying to get every bit of leverage out of the boat. Luke there, just, he's such a super steer of the boat in these conditions. They look like they're extending away on that right-hand side to me.
Great start for the British sailors out there at the moment. We have other British boats out there at the moment. Nick Rogers
Yeah, Rogers with Twiggy on the wire there, the human lever. He'll be
human lever because he's so tall.
He is indeed. He's not called Twiggy for no reason. So he's 6'3" and 71 odd kilos or something.
And that's the separation of the fleet. So what we saw after the start in this 470 race was a big wind shift. Those heading towards the wall went from glory to hold on a moment to we're in trouble.
Yeah.
The others who turned out on the right hand side got better breeze, stronger breeze, and headed off quick.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
These two.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the gainer. It was more breeze than shift. I mean, the difficulty that Luke and Stu are going to have now is they're a little bit separated. They do look as if they've gone forward, but they've still got to come across and get some starboard tack in. There they go, they're tacking across now. What a speedy tack from Stu. He's fast for a big guy, that's for sure.
This is when we'll find out just how that paid. That's a separate British boat. 858 from Great Britain.
Yeah,
it's double
Rogers.
silver medalist Nick Rogers and Chris Groove, the human lever, as you said, and just to their right, Luke Patience and Stuart Bithell. They're heading in. This is where we will find out if it paid going out to that right-hand side. What that is telling us, it is evened up a little on the left-hand side. Over on the left-hand side, which to us, top of the screen, the world champions, Belcher and Page, 6th. They'll be happy with that. They'll be happy staying out of trouble. They're just 23 minutes away from a world title if they can just stay anywhere apart from the very back, providing the British sailors win. That's the situation in this 30-minute, 10-boat final to decide a world championship in the men's 470, one of 10 Olympic classes that are here in Perth this week, competing for the world title. And there's the Israeli sailors, great shot of that, looking at the technique.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're more renowned for being faster in the breeze, but subtlety often paying out nicely in these conditions, sort of 10 knots of breeze, real precise movements, nice subtle kinetics.
Well, Hanson and Saunders from New Zealand, they won't be fighting for a medal. Good experience for the medal race, though. They'll be looking forward, they hope. Right away there. That was Nick Rogers. When the wind's coming from the right, you're on the right.
Yeah.
So if all the weight's out on the right-hand side of the boat, that means other people have to stay out of the way.
It's looking promising for Luke and Stu at the moment. They've come across, they've done what we call reduce the lever. So, they've managed to get themselves across to the left-hand side and extended in the bit of breeze that they picked up early on. So it's looking good for them right now.
What they will be looking out for, though, is the Croatian boat, Sim Fantella and Igor Marinic, because they are the most likely battle for silver medal. But if Patience and Bithell are ahead of them, they'll be on the podium, they'll be heading for silver.
And pretty smart move there from Luke. They've come across, the Croatians were on the left-hand side, so they've almost come across to cover them.
Well, if you're watching this at home in Australia, you'll enjoy that picture. The champions in waiting. Matthew Belcher and Malcolm Page, Australia 11, extraordinary week they've sailed, and they've got themselves in trouble from time to time, and they've always found their way back. Consistent series. Well, there's going to be an award for Sailors of the Week. It would not surprise me if it went to them. They are preparing. Wind went a bit lighter. Did you see that? The boat just bouncing up and down the chock. Puff comes back, and then out on the trapeze. The flatter you are on the trapeze, Steve, the more effective you are.
Absolutely, flatter to the water, less wind resistance, and of course that's your maximum leverage as well. The chop out there is just savage on a day like this, though. Bouncing off the walls, there's still spectator boats around, kicking it all up, making it a mess.
Just joined us. This is the second world title to be decided. Well, we've seen, there's 4 altogether. We've seen the Netherlands celebrating. Amazing race that, of holding on, holding your nerve, of mistakes, of comebacks, of penalties. One team was sent off, one boat was sent off. This race at the moment, a rather smoother start as the world champions tack, ride a picture and head up towards the top mark. Interesting, the side of the course depends which way the wind's blowing, how the shifts change, and it was advantage to the right-hand side. And look, like sheep, they've all gone to the left. It's favouring the left-hand side now. Yeah,
and of course, being the, if you were the 2020 tactician, you'd spot that all before it happened.
Something rather interesting. Look at that scoreboard on the left. Belcher and Page are 9th, and the British pair are leading. If Belcher and Page slip to 10th, and Patience and Bithell stay there, you wouldn't have got odds on that 10 minutes ago.
You wouldn't, but it's been a different day today than we've seen all week, and you'd probably be sweating a little bit now if you were those Aussie boys.
Well, I think that the champagne was on ice. Every reason for it still to be on ice, but just pause on getting the glasses out.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't be popping it off the top yet. British lads are definitely extending. They're looking super strong.
The supremely biased and quite rightly biased view from the British coach,
Absolutely.
Steve Lovegrove, because that's where you work. Well, here we go, coming in towards the top mark. It is the pair that your eyes are on. Luke Patience and Stuart Bithell, not yet got their Olympic place decided. Extraordinary battle in this class, including the double Olympic silver medalist Nick Rogers. Great start from the British team, and full marks for spotting that shift off the start line and heading out to the right-hand side. So Stuart Bithell and Luke Patience lead.
And it's looking
battles within the top mark. Croatian very close there.
Yeah.
We've seen that most time we've seen them coming to a top mark. It just could be when our cameras are there. And are we going to see a penalty? There's a penalty there.
Rogers doing some turns,
Nick Rogers.
unfortunately.
That is the penalty for an infringement. And there is, as we look down below on Nick Rogers. So one British team in circles, but the others are heading in a straight line down towards the second mark. We will bring you news of where the Australian team are. But at the moment, the British are doing what they had to do if there was any prospect of them winning the world title.
Well, they're just sailing off into the distance. I mean, it's really good to see the guys doing well in these conditions. It's not necessarily been something they'd be super confident in, but, you know, they're not just here on their holidays. They're working hard for this.
And from the Australian perspective, Belcher and Page up to 6th. Start getting the glasses out. Luke Patience and Stuart Bithell there leading. That purple line there is the gain line, and that's that animation turned into reality.
Nice shot there, looking back up the fleet, and it sort of shortens the angle a little bit, doesn't it? Be interesting to see when they come around the breakwater here how close the Croatians actually are to Luke and Stu. But I think they, you know, they're pretty composed. Luke and Stu, they've been in this position before. They know how to win this race.
Well, Shirley Robertson is out on the water. Shirley Robertson, the world champions, the defending world champions, for a moment looked like they were dangerously close to the very back. But the world champions are sailing through the fleet now.
Well, yeah, they've plenty of pace. We've seen that all week, so I'm not worried about them. For me, the real battle of interest is between the French and the Croatian for bronze medal position, and we see France looking very strong.
France are pouring down, and they are looking strong there at the moment. We've got the Croatian battling as well, the Croatian fast downwind.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's going to be tough in these conditions. You know, it's so patchy, and the breeze really kind of invades. And of course, if you're behind, you pick up that breeze first and close up on the guys in front. It's a, you know, for Luke to be patient.
For Luke to be patient, Steve Lovegrove delivering the lines. Luke Patience and Stuart Bithell. Now we're heading downwind for the first time. Most of the boats on the same side of the course, the left-hand side. When we refer to left and right, we're always imagining ourselves at the bottom of the course. Why not on the beach, looking up the racetrack? And these are the race leaders. That picture tells, or could well tell, the story of the gold, silver and bronze medal. Right, a picture of the Australians. We pretty much backed them for a gold medal and a world championship title. They started slowly, but they stayed out of trouble. France, number 7. Nicolas Charbonnier and Jeremy Mion, both 30. They've silver medal at last year's world championships, and I think they won a bronze medal at the Olympic Games in Beijing. Left a picture. Luke Patience and Stuart Bithell. The boat that's looking interestingly good to me is the French boat, France, number 7.
Yeah, Charbonnier, he's picked up some breeze as we look up towards them here on our right-hand side. But I think Luke and Stu are still looking strong to round these bottom marks in first position. It is going to be tight though, for sure. But Luke and Stu still holding on to the controlling position. And yeah, I mean, Aussies are coming through a little bit there. I mean, they've been quick all week, and I have to say that they've been faster than convicts on the run.
So Patience and Bithell extended their lead a little. This gate here, you choose either one of the two marks. There's no surprise where most of the boats are going. They're heading to the right-hand side, and as I say that, the French decide to go.
Yeah, the only option they had there, really. There's so many boats to the left-hand side of them. They've got to take this other mark. You know, and we saw that pay for Luke and Stu on the first leg of the course. Let's see, they're tacking away now out that side. The French guys got breeze for sure, but it's too hard to call. It's a long race, plenty of distance to go yet.
It's a long race if you're out there, but by sailing standards, it's a pretty short race, half an hour from beginning to end to decide the world title. Let's go to Shirley Robertson, who's out on the racetrack. Okay, you're going around that mark in the early bunch, Shirley. It's your decision whether to go right or left. Which way do you go? Closer to the shore or further out at sea?
It's a really hard call, because even from here you can see big light patches just where the crowds are. Maybe if you go round first, you know, you go there part way and then you tack out, but if you're coming round in the pack, it's very dangerous. And we saw Luke do very well on the right hand side in that last beat. So I think, as Steve said, his eyes out the boat, looking for the big puffs coming in and trying to avoid the lulls.
So a very different tactical approach from some of the competitors in this 470 gold medal race. We'll grab a commercial break, come back with more live from Fremantle. Welcome back, everybody, to our coverage of the men's 470 final. Replay of the race start. Tessa Parkinson, you were a little surprised by the decision that the Australians took here. Maybe not worried necessarily about their rivals. You thought they'd perhaps cover.
I did. I thought it would be a match race, and Belcher and Page would really protect the British, but they've opted to sail their own race here. They've let the British go, and you know they've got a fantastic start out here to the pin. British have extended away, so the Australians must be confident that they only have to not finish last in this race to secure the gold medal here. So they must be confident that they can do that, and they're willing to let the British go. But you know, I think you always want to be in a position to control your competitors. So I was expecting a little more aggression from them at the start to really control where the British was heading off the start line.
Back to live pictures here now. It may be just that it's a methodical approach. That's been the way that Belcher and Page have been going all week long, to be fair. Let's take you back to our international commentators now as the action in the 470 heats up. Here is Richard Simmons, and alongside him the 470 British coach, it's Stephen Lovegrove.
So, he's making maximum use of the little bit of length that he's got.
If you've just joined us, this is the 470, the men's double-hander. World title will be decided in just minutes. It's looking like Australia gold, Great Britain silver, Croatia bronze. That could change. We're coming into the top mark for the second time. Luke Patience and Stuart Bithell approaching this mark, a team who started so well and haven't looked back. Impressive move on the start line. First to head out to the right-hand side, they saw a slight shift in the wind, slightly struggling to go around this top mark. No need to tack, around we go. Spinnaker up, little pump of the sail. And behind them, the Greek combination come into the mark. And there's real distance now between the British team and the rest of the pack heading in. The Australians, though, are gently marching their way up through the fleet.
Yeah, it's easy for them now, isn't it? They feel, I guess, relatively confident. We're nearly halfway through this race, and sitting pretty in the final gold medal position.
Important this race on a number of perspectives for 859 from Great Britain. Great Britain yet to select their team in the 470. Go to the London 2012 Olympic Games, the dream going to your home games. Luke Patience and Stuart Bithell are arguing their case with some style today. Australia have rounded the top mark. They're comfortably in the mid-pack. Patience and Bithell, will this secure them their Olympic place, or will that discussion, deliberation, contemplation extend?
Well, there's powers that be that are higher than us that make those calls, and like the lad said on the slipway there, they're just out there to do the best they can and leave those decisions to the people that make them.
Comedian and a politician, Steve Lovegrove. Stuart Bithell, Luke Patience, strong lead.
Starting to stretch out a wee bit. Sorry there, Richard. I'm just saying the guy's starting to stretch out a wee bit. Once you're in front in a boat race like this, sometimes it just gets easier and easier. They've got separation from the fleet. They can pick and choose where they tack and where they jibe. Easier to see the pressure.
And look at that. There's the world champion in waiting from Australia. Patience and Bithell leading the race, heading for silver. And bronze, well, at the moment it says Snow and Saunders, but in that last picture it was looking very much like Sima Fantella and Igor Marinic were in pole position. Shirley Robertson is out on the water. We're going to join Shirley just in a moment or two. She's got a better perspective on the battle behind. Luke Patience, though, the British team look pretty solid for first place, Shirley. Or am I speaking too early?
Well, if we go back to the late radio race, it wasn't over, was it, till the end? But yeah, they're extending all the time. They're looking in great shape and going faster and faster, and I'm sure they're relaxing a little bit. The battle, though, isn't it? It's for bronze, and I'm sure that's going to go right to the end.
It certainly is. Croatia were looking good last time we looked in the battle for bronze, but front of the fleet, silver looks secure, gold looks for sure. And as Shirley Robertson said, spent so much of a career adding up the points in the finals of big competitions. The battle is for bronze. Heading down past the crowds.
Yeah, we've sort of taken our eye off that a little bit, haven't we? We've been focusing on Luke and Stu walking away with the boat race and knowing that the Australians are relatively safe in gold. But of course, it's all on between. I'm pretty sure it's all on between the Croatians and the Israelis. So.
And that just tells you the picture at the moment is the French team are in third, but in second, as you said, real battle there. Downwind, 1 and 2. Greece second at the moment. Greece will not win a medal.
No, basically only four boats in this race that can actually come away with any silverware at all. And we're looking now. It looks reasonably confident that the Aussies have got that wrapped up. I mean, they're pumping that sail super hard there, working their way down the run. even though they think they've got it wrapped up, you can't take your eye off, can you? You've just got to keep working max out the whole way. Same as Luke and Stu here. Look at this, just dropping, ready to round this mark.
Well, it's got slightly lighter. The great thing when you're out in front and you've got a lead like that, you go where you want to go. No one behind you is trying to take your wind. You're sailing your own course. So often we've seen this week that when a team get out in front, that's when the lead really extends. So they'll be looking for the pack to compress a little behind them. Often you also find in these medal race finals that some of the teams without the pressure perform at their best. This is the last race of their competition. It's back on the plane to Athens, so enjoy the last race, take the pressure off, and so often that just flicks a switch and the performance comes with it. Well, as the British team head upwind now, they're going to play for safety, as Shirley reminded us, international sailor who knows what it's like to win on the racetrack. Never be complacent. Something that Matthew Belcher and Son and Paige said to me yesterday. They said, we have lost big leads.
Yeah, and if it's going to happen anywhere, it would happen on a course like this. You know, we saw it in the radial race. All of a sudden the breeze decreased and became very patchy. It looks a little more consistent now. I mean, that's generally the norm as well. As we get later in the day, the sea breeze that does come in becomes a little more consistent. So hopefully nothing crazy going to happen, and we'll see a reasonably fair boat race.
Heading upwind for the final time, it's the Australian team who started conservatively. They're still sailing conservatively, but a middle of the fleet position is going to be just fine for them. Luke Patience and Stuart Bithell at the front as we head upwind for the final time. They're looking comfortable. Silver's looking like it could be going their way. Something pretty surprising has to happen to stop that. But the battle for bronze, a few more teams in it. Croatia, France, Israel. That's how we stand. Around about 9 minutes of this race remaining. 9 minutes until the Australian flag will be flying high over Perth, celebrating a world title win on home waters.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be a great thing, hasn't it? I mean, you know, all credit to them. They can come away with the gold this year, and hopefully we'll put a British team on top of the podium next year where it really counts. Great
battle between Great Britain and Australia in so many sports, and sailing is one of them. We've got 79 nations here, but every expectation is that here and at London 2012, the two nations that could be fighting it out on top of the podium would be the nations that's dominated Olympic sailing since 2000. Great Britain, and this is the race leader, and heading for second here, Patience and Bithell, and the guys from down under, the Australian team. A lot of competition, a lot of rivalry, a lot of twinkle in the eye between those two nations. I can't wait to London 2012.
Yeah, it's going to be all on.
Luke Patience can't wait to the end of this race.
I think the lads will be enjoying themselves now, actually. You know, they're looking more and more comfy. Their speed is clearly good. They're extending away from the fleet, being able to pick and choose where they put themselves on the racetrack, keeping good control.
The advantage we've got over you at home is we've got a window. And I'm looking out something we can't quite see on the water. That gives you a bit of a clue. But the left-hand side of the racetrack, to me, there is more wind coming in. Slightly darker on the water.
Yeah, it looks a little darker that way, and it's good to see that, like I say, Luke and Stu now on starboard tack heading in that direction.
Waves have got a little bigger. Different sort of sailing.
Yeah, and you know, the breezier it gets, I'm sure the stronger that the British team will feel. It's been good for them in the breeze all week.
Well, they're heading out there. They're 3/4 of the way up the final upwind leg. So if you're getting used to these courses now, there's that top mark to round, and then downhill, as they say in sailing, the spinnaker comes up, and it's a slide down to the bottom mark with a sharp right turn to the finish and celebrations. There we have the harbour in Fremantle down there in 1987, where thousands and thousands and thousands came to watch the America's Cup here. That was an event that put this place on the map. So many of those who are out here competing were inspired by that events and events like that. This is the first time that this event has been held in Western Australia. It only happens every 4 years. All the 10 Olympic classes compete in a sailing event that, competitors-wise, is simply as big as it can get. Wind has clicked up round about 10-15%. There's the next mark. And the Australians have probably thought, yeah, let's switch something on, shall we?
Yeah, well, they don't really even have to, though, do they? They just, you know, I'm sure it'd be nice for them to move forward and get the best position that they can. It's not like they're going to ease off the gas.
They say winning's a habit. And look at this now. That's a different machine, isn't it? We saw just before this race what the sailors thought of this boat. That's Nick Rogers. That's not the overall leader from Great Britain. And Matthew Belcher and Malcolm Page just slide in front of them. Remember, the wind is coming from the right. That's if you're looking at the back of the boat forward, you're in the right. Luke Patience, Stuart Bithell in the right place. Round top mark, head downwind, destination, end of event, silver medal. Well, the Greek team now are just going to attack it. They're sailing a good race, the Greek team, again with the pressure off. And it's Charbonnier from France at the moment putting the most pressure on them. But the Australian team, I think perhaps the part of their tactic here was on that first leg, let's just quite a few boats around, stay out of trouble, get into our groove and sail our own race, just see where we finish.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, they maybe had some worrying moments at the top end of that first beat where Luke and Stuart extended and were leading, and they were kind of back in sort of 8 and 9, but you know, then it's not their first time, is it? And they'll be confident of their speed and knowing what they had to do. Just anything other than 10th was going to secure them a gold medal, and that would be easy enough for them, I'm sure.
Well, I remember in 2000 in Sydney at the Olympic Games when 2 of the home nation's gold medals were won on those waters. They were in this class, and I remember the city went wild those nights. Well, there'll be celebrations here. Of course, a long way to go. 8 more world titles to be won, 2 of them this afternoon, and the rest of them will be decided next Friday, Saturday, Sunday. After that, 1,200 nations will have left one of sailing's favourite places.
Good to see the lads extending here. I mean, you know, they won't be backing off. They've of course already got 1 silver medal in the class. I think silver medal for them in 2009. But I think they came here with expectations of certainly coming away with a medal. So good to see them rounding out the week with a silver.
Well, surely we said the battle it is for bronze. Talk about that in a moment. But the conditions are changing, and what a show these British teams are putting on, particularly Luke Patience and Bithell.
He clearly had a plan and came out with a bit of confidence this morning. He owned that right-hand side on the first leg and has extended ever since. Very impressive sailing. I mean, they've had a lot of pressure on this week. They were behind in their Olympic trials for that 1 spot for Britain, and they had to come here and show the selectors what they were made of. And I think we see that now.
Yes, there may be millions watching this, but there is a very small group of people that really matter to Luke Patience and Stuart Bithell. Those making the decisions who will be going to London 2012 in this class, and what a hard decision that will be, because Nick Rogers is a man who's proved he could win at the Olympics. And statistically, if you've won a medal, you're more likely to win another one.
So they say.
Tough decision.
Yeah, so they say. And Nick took a little break out of the sport. Obviously not sailing with Joe anymore, and there's other teams that have tried to take over that role.
A chance for the Australians now. A little show business as they slide down in front of the crowd, the grandstands, more and more people coming to watch the finale of this World Championship title.
Here they go, guys.
You can hear the cheers from the commentary box as the Australian team passes. Well, that's a moment for them to enjoy. That's something new for sailing. So often the Olympic finals, the World Championship dying moments held out in open ocean, and now just meters from the shore. And the Australians have come here to celebrate a world title. But first, there's a boat to finish.
Yeah, and you know, look at the distance. The next team hasn't even rounded the final mark yet, and the lads for life are pretty much across the finish line. Here they come.
Well, they will be delighted.
There they go. Good skills.
A slap on the back for Stuart Bithell from Luke Patience. A punch in the air. That is a silver medal for the British team.
I tell you what, it's all on at the back here as well, because there's more racing to be done back here.
It looks to me that France are about to consolidate and secure their bronze.
Well, yeah, I mean, they certainly, from what we've got in front of us here, it looks that way. I'm not so sure I trust the points there, Richard, but
well, the points are telling us that France should be delighted with this result, but for the moment, let's just enjoy the moments with the silver medalist.
And look at the squeeze. 2. Look at the squeeze around this mark.
Well, we'll go back to that in a second.
Sorry, Richard. Yeah.
The advantage of the window. But for you at home, you'll see France cross the line. And now we have a thick pack following behind them. Australia here, quick look behind this, no need at all. Matthew Belcher and Malcolm Page came here saying, do you want to do what we've done for the last 3 World Championships? We want to walk away with the title, but more than all, we want to win on home waters. It matters to us.
Yeah, that's a nice, got to be a nice feeling from them, isn't it? You know, cruising into the finish there.
This is the moment that started with expectation has been completed. Victory for Australia. They are the world champions in the 470. They've made it look easy from the beginning. A big smile there on the face of both Matthew Belcher and Malcolm Page. Well, Australia will be celebrating tonight. The spinnaker comes down. They can't break the habit. They're getting things ready. They haven't had their big moment yet. Relief. They must have been thinking about it, waving at home to the crowds. Big crowds on the side now and a gentle tap. Not too much emotion. Winning's all part of their game. They're used to it.
And some credit also, I guess, Tessa must go to the coach in Victor Kovalenko. They took an approach that was a little different at the beginning of the race. They came home with just the right amount of the right result, really, of what we wanted today. They did a superb job.
They did. Look, stunning race, and we've seen the same approach throughout this whole regatta. They haven't been in a position to risk at the start. They're obviously very confident in their boat speed, in their equipment, in their teamwork, because we often see them in 10th position slowly chip their way back up and catch up. Their speed downwind is just phenomenal. They, you know, that's really the leg of the course where they seem to catch, you know, 2 or 3 boats each time.
It's a championship that is all about consistency, and Belcher and Page have delivered there in spades. What a week. We'll come back with a lot more right after this. There are the results for you in terms of the points that they've accumulated this week. The lowest tally is the Aussies. They win and are the world champions on that basis. We'll come back and you'll hear from them in just a few moments. And the Premier of WA, Colin Barnett, joining us too. Don't go away. Golden start by Australia to the ISAF Sailing World Championships in the 470 class. Belcher and Page delivering, doing exactly what they set out to do all week long. It's a very methodical, a very strategic approach, and they should be absolutely delighted. Let's check in with the boys now and see how they're feeling.
That is a very big smile. I know you've won World Championships before in Olympic Games, but to win here on home waters, that's something else.
Very special, very special. Look, this racetrack is very difficult with this, break walls either side, but what a spectator we have here. Great to do it in Australia. Hearing all the cheers throughout the race was great. I was trying to concentrate on my job, but it was really, really special.
I mean, today it was just about having a clean race, a safe race, but what a week you've had.
Oh, it's been fantastic. It's credit to obviously to our coach Victor to be able to make sure we can perform for this week. I've been working really hard for this one. Obviously now our focus is the game, so we'll enjoy a few weeks off over Christmas. But it's a fantastic moment, and it's just there.
Your coach Victor Kovalenko, the medal maker, what did he just say to you? We just saw you with him.
Well, his tradition is, when we win a regatta like this, to hand over the flag. He said, congratulations, he wanted a shake, and I said, nah, we're having a hug. He's a great mentor to have, what a man, he's a very special guy.
To win a World Championship 7 months before the Olympic Games, I mean, that sends out a message, doesn't it, to your competitors?
Oh, certainly. You can take it both ways. I'm sure the other guys are going to be working really hard up until the games, and certainly we feel we can definitely put some more improvement in, and all we can do is focus on ourselves and just try and keep as much distance as we can.
I know you've lots of supporters and friends and family waiting to congratulate you on shore. What's tonight going to be like?
I think it could be a very long night, I've got a flight home tomorrow, so I think I'm going to prepare myself for a good sleep.
Well, get that flag up. There's a crowd waiting to give you a big cheer. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And they'll be celebrating long into the night here in Fremantle, and someone who'll be pretty happy about that, no doubt, is the Premier of Western Australia. We're delighted to be joined now by the Honourable Colin Barnett. Great way to start for us. That was terrific, wasn't it?
It was excellent to see an Australian win, and it's a great sight behind. Just having a look over there and seeing that class completing their final, but also the girls going out on the windsurfers. I mean, they made it look so easy, just standing on it, nonchalantly going out. I think I'd be just pulled apart by that. But a great atmosphere down here and a lot of fun, Greg.
This event has been some 6 years in the making. A great cooperation between both state and federal government. Are you happy with the way that it's going so far?
I am happy, and it's both the Australian and the West Australian government have sponsored the event, as have a number of private businesses, and that's greatly appreciated. A lot of planning obviously goes into a World Championship. I don't pretend to know a lot about yachting, but I've got lots of friends who sail every weekend, and they are passionate about yachting and have been excited about this event for probably the last 3 years.
It is a mammoth undertaking in terms of all the volunteers and people that have been a part of it, no doubt about that. You say you're not necessarily a sailor, but there is a bit of a connection there with Elise Riccici, a gold medal winner. There is a family connection there, shall we say?
Elise is a distant relation of mine, and we owned her once she won that gold medal.
I bet you did.
She was ours, close family relative then. Yeah, but yeah, great to see young people like Elise and Tessa win that gold medal, and obviously Australia is going to be very competitive in London. And I guess why the volunteers and all the referees and everything, I think the intensity of effort just reflects that this is Olympic selection basically. So that's the exciting part about it. But a great event.
We'll get you to stay with us if you don't mind, because we're in the hive of all the celebrations here. So let's go back out to the water now and hear from the Brits who won the race, Luke Patience and Stuart Bithell.
Huge congratulations, and what a race as well. I mean, dominated that right from the start.
Yeah, we did. It was the points changed overnight, and we went from a guaranteed medal to not a guaranteed medal, and so it went from a fairly relaxed medal race for us to we mean business this time. And so we didn't have a great medal race last year at the pre-worlds, but this year we made a real point to absolutely dominate the start and make the first decision our own, and more importantly make that first decision the correct decision. And Stuart did a great job sniffing some shifts up the first beat, and the boy's a legend, and we came out what we meant to do.
Oh, Stuart, we mean business. I mean, you really had to mean business this week. Behind in the British Olympic trials, you had to put on a good show here.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we weren't as successful as we wanted to be in Sail for Gold, didn't go to the test event. So yeah, we came here with a point to win, and with that to beat all the other British guys, and we're absolutely stoked we've done that, and we hope the selectors are watching.
I mean, today is about celebrating that silver medal, but you must be thinking now about selection and in 7 months' time in Weymouth.
Yeah, I mean, of course we're thinking about selection. As Stuart said, that was one of the two goals coming to this event, and we've not won the Worlds. We're only in silver, and we don't do this to stand on second position in the podium. We do this to win. But it's not the Olympics yet, and we had other motives coming to this regatta as well as just purely winning it. So me and Stuart's campaign is all about Olympic gold in London, and this is a stepping stone towards that. And you know what? We'll take a silver medal here, and because it's the shiniest gold that matters in London the most.
Your happy faces, big smile.
Absolutely, yeah.
Enjoy it. Well done, lad.
Thank you,
Charlie. See you later.
Cheers. See you guys. Peace.
There's little doubt they'd love to win gold at the London Games, but they will have to beat these boys here. Australian flag in the breeze, and proudly so as well for Matthew Belcher and Malcolm Page. They've won the gold medal in the 470 class. A terrific start for Australia to these World Championships. Here in the studio, we're delighted to be joined by the Honourable Premier of Western Australia, Colin Barnett. As we watch some of the action here, we should talk a little bit about the fact that your state's well positioned as an event state, and in the past week or so you've made the announcement about even more cultural and sporting events on the list for 2012.
Yeah, a major golf tournament, and in typical sort of West Australian bravado, we've put $2 million into it to make it the richest golf tournament in Australia, until someone else tops us, which they inevitably will. But yeah, look, we're big on events, and I think